We're spending 22 minutes today with Adrian Grenier, the star of Marauders, brand new movie, and of course, need I even say it? I'll say it, Entourage.
Yes.
Let's talk about Marauders, though. The movie opens July 1st.
July 1, that's
right,
correct.
Right,
Yeah.
And
in theaters and on demand, so you take your pick.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a sneak peek.
You did?
I'm so cool, yes, I did. I got to watch it, but I have such an early bedtime that I had like 20 minutes left. And I'm like, God, I really have to go to bed, but I really want to watch the ending. It's really good. It's exciting.
Did you get to the ending? Because that's the big twist.
No, tonight. Tonight is my big night. It's my big night. I get to watch it.
It's such a fun ride, and there's so many twists. You know, I always, you know, you really watch movies for the twists, right? Especially the action movies.
Sure.
And they have some really smart ones in this movie, so definitely watch it. It's a heist movie. Who doesn't love a good heist movie? And you start to follow the money trail up the ladder to the bigger conspiracy, the corruption. It's pretty cool.
Right. That's why I wanted to watch it when I was coherent, because there are so many of those twists. And your character, FBI Agent Wells, you're kind of a straight arrow kind of guy for, at least at the start of the movie. I didn't watch the ending. We're not going to give away any spoilers, but.
Well, I mean, that's one of the really cool themes in the movie is, you know, what is right and what is wrong. And, you know, everybody has their moral compass, and they're all at odds with one another. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you start to see it unravel, but, you know, there's a lot of ambiguity, which I think is cool for the characters. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is about, you know, corruption and the rich and how they have to be, you know, made to pay. Yeah. The rich will pay.
Bruce Willis in the role as the bank owner, and it was kind of odd to watch him in a way. You're waiting for the yippee-ki-yays, you know, and him to, like, you know, rip off his suit and have the wife beater on, but he's just kind of a serious kind of talks like this through the movie. It's like, Bruce Willis, huh? How is it working with him?
Oh, well, he's, you know, obviously he's awesome. He's Bruce, you know. Bruce Willis is great. Dave Bautista was really fun to work with. He's hilarious in the movie, just such a natural, and then Chris Maloney is just a star. He just carried the whole show. John Scheck is, you know, just the cast is so awesome, and everybody was so. We shot this movie in 16 days.
That's it?
16 days.
Wow.
Not only like the scenes are good, the character development is solid and on point, but there's a lot of action.
Right.
And we did it in 16 days. Some might say that's dangerous because we were just whipping through it.
Yeah.
But
well, what makes that possible?
We were undaunted.
What was it? Just a really tight script and nothing had to be changed? You were just able to just do it?
You're right. Tight script, but a cast that knew what they were doing, a well-seasoned cast, and then a director who really had a vision, and he came in like a, you know, like military. You know, he was just there, precision filming, and he didn't shoot things that he didn't need.
Right.
A lot of times you go on these sets and it's like a lot of setup and a lot of belaboring each shot, and then it ends up on the floor. But when you have an auteur, like a master director like Stephen Miller, he comes in, he says, I'm shooting this, I'm shooting that, and then we're moving on. One time he's like, you know, we're doing this in one. Right. One shot, move on. Are you sure? Yeah, we got it, trust me. And when you watch the movie, it was worth the trust.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of military, your character's a Quantico guy, right? Yeah. Short hair.
Ex-military.
Did you have to cut the tresses?
I did trim up a bit. Yeah.
How was that?
And also, I'm the newbie, so I'm like really on my best behavior, trying to like you know do my best and impress everybody. So I'm not like the other guys who are a little bit more comfortable in their skin and their new position. Yeah, I cut my hair. I did.
How was that?
It's still pretty short. Yeah. Relative to, you know, how it's been.
Were you resistant?
No, I was excited.
Yeah.
You know, I always find, you know, you find a lot of the character through physicality, through costume, and just changing something about your appearance really helps you to get into that role. So, yeah, no, I was happy about it.
Yeah. So last summer at this time, or a little bit earlier in June, you were promoting Entourage. Yeah. That had to be a fun ride. That had to be fun to make.
It certainly was. It was. And it continues to bring me lots of memories and joy. And of course, people remind me all the time about, you know, how much of a positive influence we had on people.
a positive influence on people. How so? When people see you in the street in New York, do they shout, "Hey, Vince"?
Yeah, I mean, look, say what you will about our influence on society, we brought families together. You know, I remember a grandmother told me, she said, you know, it's one time I get a chance to like hang out with my granddaughter because they both loved the show. So we're bringing families together, we're bringing generations together. But you know, now it's a different entourage. It's Chris Maloney, it's Bruce Willis, it's Marauders.
Right. The other entourage, I guess it was Turtle and Johnny Drama had expressed an interest in doing an entourage too. Are you interested in doing a second movie?
You know, I sometimes you just have to stop while you're ahead and you know, quit while you're on top. And I think that's what we did. And you know, of course I would do it because I miss the guys and it's always a fun ride. But I think it would be a mistake if we went back. Like I think we did our job, and it's over.
So that's a no.
That's a, if they did it, I'd do it in a second. But they're not going to, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. When a movie like that comes out, there has to be a lot of pressure because people absolutely, as you say, brought families together. People were crazy about that show. It was part of the pop culture.
Absolutely.
So then the movie comes out. Is it? I mean, I'm sure it was a lot of fun to do, but is it a pressure cooker too? Like, oh my God, there's so much riding on this.
Well, you know, I always just had the same philosophy as Vince. You know, you look at the big picture and you don't sweat the small stuff. And you know, you just kind of roll with it and flow. I never was concerned or nervous that, you know, about ratings or the audience. I just knew that we had something that was tapping into a zeitgeist. Yeah. And it was our job to have the best time ever on behalf of the audience and bring them along for the ride. So, no, I had no anxiety about it.
It was just fun.
Just fun.
Audience didn't want Vince to get married after the finale. Was that like an open rebellion among people on social media?
Yeah, it was. And, you know, I think it made sense, you know. Vince married, where did that leave everybody?
Yeah. Different kind of entourage.
Right.
Yeah. So how tight are you guys in real life? Or how tight were you during the show?
It's like family, brothers. Mm-hmm. We all come from the East Coast, so it was certainly a lot of rapport naturally from being from New York and the surrounding areas. So, yeah, like family.
Family. How were you cast for that role? Now, I know it was loosely based, the series, on the travels of Mark Wahlberg, right?
She's a true fan. She's been dying. She is like the host of questions here.
Well, I did 22 minutes. We also had Donnie Wahlberg here not too long ago. Yeah, so 6 degrees to 22 minutes. But anyway, I digress. How did you get the role? You don't look like Mark Wahlberg.
No, that was the thing too. Is it was very loosely based, and I think the idea was, how do you cast a movie star? You know, all the movie stars that would, you know, they're already movie stars, and they're not going to do this show. And it was still just a concept and a pilot. So I think what it was is I had this nonchalance about the whole casting process. Mm-hmm. I imagine the other actors that were going for the role were really desperate and eager. Yeah. If you're a star, you're not eager. You know you got it. You get offers, and so that's how I played it.
So what was the audition like? You had to read a few lines in the character of Vince.
Audition.
You didn't?
No, I put myself on tape and I said, here, that's it. If you want me, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And that's sort of the spirit of Vince throughout. You know, he cares more about his friends than he does the toys and the career. And he, you know, it's just this ease, this, you know, natural quality that I think really made the character, well, first of all, likable, considering, despite the things that he was engaging in, but also really allowed the focus to be on the boys.
Right. right. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, so Vince becomes, well, Aquaman, he's a star, and then he has his ups and downs career-wise. Did you, as, that obviously your major role that catapulted you to stardom, as people in the media like to use cliches, but did you learn from Vince about how to deal with fame at all, as you became famous as the star of Entourage?
It can be, I think, a dangerous prospect to use Entourage as a lesson plan for what to do in those types of situations. Because in real life there are hangovers. So, you know, if you want to live that lifestyle, there are consequences.
Right.
But also, I did come across scenarios that were almost verbatim what I'd already shot in the show.
Really?
And I was like, really? Am I being punked? Is this, you know, am I in a scene all of a sudden?
Can you give us a for instance?
I mean, just little, you know, here's and there's. I mean, you know, you have, you know, people hiring you to do birthdays, you know, surprises for their kids, and, you know, you have all these different scenarios. But I think you always have to, everybody who has that fame experience has to come about it in their unique way, and has to deal with it. It's something that you have to process. And the way I processed it was I made a documentary called Teenage Paparazzo.
Right.
And that I actually went inside the belly of the beast and sort of looked at celebrity from the inside and pulled back the curtain. And I did it through the eyes of this 13-year-old paparazzo boy who had been taking my picture. And that's how I dealt with it, and that's how I explored my relationship to this whole unique, weird experience of being recognized and getting all this attention and swag. And I feel like it was a really healthy process for me, so that it didn't metastasize into some, you know, so I didn't end up, you know, going off the deep end as some celebrities are known to do.
Yes, they are, right. So you directed that, right?
I did.
Just like Vince wants to direct, and all actors seem to want to direct. What's that about?
It was the most opportune meta experience. Like it was like calculated to be the most meta thing you could possibly do, because it was me deconstructing fame from a guy who becomes famous by playing a guy on a show about fame and then turning the cameras inward and then pointing the cameras outward to the paparazzo who is taking a picture of me. So it was just like this hall of mirrors craziness, which was, I think, one of the most interesting parts of that whole experience.
Were you ever afraid when you were playing Vince, and you know, for so many seasons, that sometimes people become so closely identified with one character? It's like, well, you know, he's always going to be Vince. Were you worried about that? I mean, this role, by the way, is very different, and I know you have a lot of other projects coming up. Were you afraid of that at all?
No, I think it's the artist's burden and opportunity to reinvent themselves. You know, and if you do something well, I think it's a testament to a job well done when people really believe it and really like it. And then you just got to do it again. You know, I was somebody that people didn't really know, and then they came to know me very well, playing one part. And now it's time to, you know, show them the range. Right. Although I think I have a unique position, because I did play an actor who played many different characters. So to see me playing characters is not necessarily unusual.
Is there some crazy stuff that people shout out at you when they see you in New York or elsewhere?
Well, no, but for the record, I just want to say right here and now for your audience, I don't know where Turtle's at. Okay? I don't have him, you know, on my phone, find my friend, okay? I don't know where he is. Don't ask me. No, you can ask me. It's fine. I don't care. And Johnny Drama is not cooking breakfast right now at my house. He doesn't live with me.
So you're from Manhattan, right? Not from Queens.
No, I grew up in Manhattan. I live in Brooklyn.
Okay, yeah. Right. And currently in Brooklyn, you have this basement project, right, where young people can come and play music.
They don't have to be young. They just have to. It's really a support system for emerging artists. So maybe young bands, but not. They don't have to be young in age. New.
Okay.
Yeah. So So I built a studio because I played music for a long time, and then it was just there's a lot of extra bandwidth, and I started giving it away to friends and bands, friends of bands and bands of friends, and it's blossomed since then. And we have a nice little community, a nice little scene going on.
Have you discovered any new talent that you think just might be the next big thing?
Yeah, watch out. There's a band coming up the ranks called The Skins.
The Skins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow them.
I'll be listening.
At The Skins on Instagram and Twitter and all that jazz, and theskins.com. And they're about to drop something very soon, eminently.
Interesting. Yeah. Your biography has a line about your musical career and talents. It says you were a stone-cold hippie bongo drum player while attending college. I didn't write it. This is what I read.
I love the internet. I don't know where that came from. Wasn't there one like that I played trombone or something?
I didn't see anything about a trombone.
I don't know. I play all sorts of weird instruments.
Do you play?
According to the internet.
Do you play a bunch of instruments though?
I mean, I do, but
You dabble.
What is it?
A stone cold hippie bongo drum player.
I have played bongos a couple times in my life. I wouldn't call myself a bongo player, but this begs the question. If you've played bongos, does that make you a bongo player? If you've baked a cake, does that make you a baker?
I would say no.
Well, then I don't know. I played bongos once, but I'm not a bongo player.
I would have liked to have been at the party or whatever it was where those bongos were played. I'm guessing that's a good story.
Safe to say that I did not make people sign any, NDAs at that party.
Okay,
they've been talking ever since.
Let's talk about your upcoming projects. You have some other movies. We were talking about this earlier. I want to get the names of them correct. Southern Fury.
Yes.
John Cusack.
Yes. Yes.
You're working with everybody.
I love that guy. He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
We had what they call great on-screen chemistry, and we got along really well.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Now, how do you know that with somebody?
You don't know. You just show up and you hope, because that just makes the job a lot easier. And if you don't have chemistry, you just got to make do and make the best of it.
But I mean, when do you realize that? When you just run your first few lines together,
you just flow. You just riff. Mm-hmm. It's like anything. When you meet somebody, you feel a rapport. You feel natural energy, and it's not necessarily, it's intangible.
Right. So when you working with a Bruce Willis or a John Cusack, do you guys become kind of buddies on the set? Do they rib you about Entourage? Like, what are the interactions like?
Yeah. Well. So John and I were in several scenes together. We spent several days together, and in between setups and takes, we would talk about all sorts of things, and I found that we had a lot in common. And so I think that's where it comes from. We shared worldview, shared history, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just sort of played well because our characters liked each other, so it was good.
Right, that's great. And then the other movie, Public Affairs, right?
Yeah, I actually just flew in. We shot till very late, caught a very early flight, and if you watch my Snapchat story this morning, I don't know really what I was riffing on because I was half asleep, but okay.
Not the bongos, though.
No.
It's okay.
So they wrapped us later than they were supposed to, and then I had maybe at that point 4 hours of sleep. So I rushed home, and I had to pack. So I rush home to pack and sleep, and I go to put my key card in the hotel door. It doesn't work. You know how much that sucks, right? So I go all the way downstairs. Like, oh, my key doesn't work. Okay, thank you. Reprograms it. Go back upstairs. Again, doesn't work. Go back downstairs. The guy comes up. He says, "Oh, the whole mechanism's broke. We got to get the repair guy in." Now it's like 2 in the morning. So they call the guy. He's like, "Oh, I'm 45 minutes out." So that's going to take, and now I'm getting like 2 hours sleep, 1.5 hours sleep. So they finally give me another room, and I just like lay down my head for a couple hours, and then got up, and then finally they had fixed it, and I got my stuff together and went to the airport. But that was my morning, to be here for you. That's what I do. That's what I go for.
You were so patient with them. I think I would have had a fit.
I was borderline like impatient, and then I like saw the guy. He's such a nice guy. He's been so good to me, and I just want to say to the guy working over there at the hotel, thank you, because he, even though I was getting a little irritated, he was just super solid, and he's definitely a good worker, because he probably deals with all sorts of crazy people, and I'm glad that I didn't snap.
Yeah, it would have been all over Twitter and everything if you had, I think probably a good thing.
You have to be kind and thankful and gracious to people that are helping you out, and sometimes we forget, we get, we have a lot of expectations of people, and they're just doing their job.
Right. So you've been doing your jobs in the movies, busy with a lot of movie projects. Would you take a TV series again if it came your way?
Absolutely. I mean, right now I'm just focused on quality, and I'm back in the saddle looking at different parts. I've been working, I think I've done like 3 back-to-back movies in the past few months. Have another one that I'm looking at, so a series, certainly, if it's the right one.
Once you've had a successful series like Entourage, do you get a lot of offers, in particular now with television being what it is, and there's so much more product and so many more it's a great time to be watching TV.
I have. I've gotten some great opportunities, but it really has to be the right fit. You don't want to. It's such a commitment to do a show that you want to make sure it's right.
Right. Well, so nice to talk to
you.
you.
Too.
Busy guy these days. Thank you so much for coming in, and I'm so little sleep too.